Okay, if we ask the question if women contribute to misogyny, yes, they contribute to misogyny. A lot of women support patriarchy. They vote for patriarchal presidents. They vote for misogynist presidents. They worship patriarchal gods. They maintain and perpetuate gender roles. They will socialize their own daughters. They play into the hands of patriarchy. And those are just some ways. But there is a main way that women cause misogyny, and that is spanking. Okay? Mothers are one of the primary spankers of children, not fathers, but mothers. And that's because they are usually the caretaker, the main rearers of the children. But women are spanking their children, sometimes beating their children. And when they're spanking their male children, that is causing pain, that is causing suffering, that is causing trauma. And that trauma develops into misogyny. It's not rational, it's not reasonable, but trauma, PTSD normally doesn't work that way. Now, and it's not just physical abuse. That's what spanking is. It's abuse. It's in some instances it can be verbal abuse or emotional abuse. But women are abusing their male children, and that trauma and those memories turn into misogyny. And it's not just from the pain, it's not just from the acts. When someone hits you, it's your instinct to defend yourself. But one, that's their parent. Even a child knows they can't attack someone they're dependent on. In their mind, that's death to them. Secondly, it's an adult. The adult is bigger than a child, so they can actually strike back. So now you have children suppressing their fighting instinct, repressing those reactions. And all these reactions, this repression of instincts, the repression of trauma, and pain, especially when males are socialized not to express that pain, it just doesn't go away. A lot of males are walking around with that childhood trauma, not knowing why they have this hatred and animosity towards females. In a lot of households, it's this very tyrannical pecking order. You're going to submit to me. And then that transfers into adulthood where you don't feel like you become into these constant power struggles with females when it shouldn't even be the case, but it's stemming from those power struggles from childhood that were perpetuated with pain and trauma and violence. It's made worse when a lot of women are playing the victims. I don't know where this misogyny is coming from. We're so innocent. Us hitting you doesn't even hurt you, and all this sort of thing. And it's like, no, you're not innocent. So, males still in society, even by so called feminists, still expect men to be in war. They still expect men to be the fighters, because we're generally um, have more testosterone, and that affects our builds. But when you combine that with trauma, you're going to get violent people. Now, this is not excusing male violence. This is not excusing abuse. Um, a lot of times it's not. Fathers can be abusive as well, and men won't be as violent as towards males or have that animosity towards males because they're just seen as men are seen as more as a threat. Um, Misogyny is also institutionalized. There's also culture behind it, and then you're still accountable for what you do with yourself. You don't have to hit anyone, and it's usually a personal issue or a relationship issue that's taking people over the edge, but it's still a factor. Okay? If we want to bring down misogyny, people need to stop normalizing and spanking their children, especially when we have this never hit women attitude. No, we should have a never hit children attitude. Why are we more protective of adult women of physical abuse than we are of children, the people who are actually vulnerable, the people who are actually biologically have issues with self-control and emotional maturity? Stop the abuse.